gear seekers, I'm Nick. Yes, it's another teardown, 2 days in a row. This time we're tearing down the Lancool 2 by Lian-Li, but for a very, very good reason. Because, ladies and gentlemen, like I mentioned in the original build video, I'm actually going to be building my new Threadripper 3rd gen editing workstation in this case. So before I can do that, I need to pull all the stuff out. So think of this as kind of a preparing my new editing workstation rig build video, except it's a teardown. Yeah, that's confusing, but yeah, deal with it. Just like every other teardown video we do on the channel, these aren't guides on how to tear down your system. This is just how I pull apart PCs. And I like doing it this way now because I get to have a chat with you guys as well about things that I discovered when I was building it that I might not have necessarily talked about when I originally built the case. Because yeah, sometimes you only notice things as you're tearing things apart. So with all that said, let's tear it down and then yeah, let's have a chat about it. And I'm gonna talk about the thing that people asked about the most, the RGB. Okay, let's start this process off. One thing that you'll notice is the GPU's already gone because I used this 2080 Ti for all of the Threadripper testing because I didn't have another 2080 Ti to use, and I know that sounds unbelievable considering all the boxes behind me, but it's true, I didn't actually have another one for testing. So yeah, I'm just gonna pull these off. These are really easy. These are just hinged, they just lift off. And actually this is one thing that I like about the case more than anything is everything's hinged and it makes life easy, especially if you're like me or my friend Carl over here, who you might know from Discord. He's actually here in the background today. We change stuff in our PCs a lot and you know, it's nice to be able to just have that ease of access. GPU's gone, there's a big gaping hole in the back of the case. Not trying to be rude, you know, that's just the action that you use when you look at the back of cases, right? Okay, and we flap this side down, and again, the other thing I liked is the cable management. It's absolutely wonderful in this case. Like I said in the build video, this is the best case of 2019. Easily the best case of 2019. And it was funny because when I was putting the video together, I was like, I don't know what the other YouTubers are gonna say about it. Everyone said the same thing, so. All right, and you'll see my mess of cables on the back side because this is usually time-lapsed in the builds. Oh baby, here we go. I mean, it's not too bad. I used the included Velcro straps because these do come with it as well, which is quite nice. And it's actually funny that Carl's here because he wants to buy this case and now he can see what it's like without buying it. Like I mentioned in the build as well, you've got 2 SSD trays down here as well if you wanted to use them. You've got 2 more SSD mounts up here. Plenty of cable management options. There's actually something I wanted to show you guys as well that I'm gonna be doing to the case before I pull it apart because my new Threadripper board is E-ATX and this does support E-ATX motherboards. I'm gonna show you how to make it support them. It's a very nifty little trick that Lian-Li thought of in this case, but we'll get to that towards the end. So let's just pull all this apart. I'm actually really excited for this build. As you probably saw yesterday in yesterday's terrible teardown video, I was not excited for that case because to be honest, I really didn't like the LDO3. It's very hard for me to be impressed by small form factor cases. Hey, this is a nifty thing with this power supply. 2 EPS power connectors on the same cable. Very nice. Very, very nice. And again, just like every other video, my little trick to hold in RGB cables. Look at that. Tape. And I'm just gonna speed up the footage now in time-lapse mode and then I'm gonna talk about the RGB controller, so stick around. All right, I'm gonna pull the cooler out and then I'm gonna show you a couple things that I didn't do for this build that you can do with this case that I will be leaving for the Threadripper build. Okay, let's get this cooler unclipped. I didn't use all the screws as you can see here because I didn't position it right. I purposely did that so when I tore it down there was less screws. Yes, I know, I'm a monster. Look at that. Bang. Bang, bang, baby. And the fan frame out. I love these fan frames. But I don't think I will be using fan frames in my build, unfortunately, because I have better plans for it. And no, it's not going to be a custom loop. All right, let's make the necessary modifications for this. So there's a screw in this corner here. And if you take this screw out, show you really quickly, and then you rotate the case around to the other side and do the same thing. This is one thing I saw at Computex that I completely forgot about showing you guys in the build, was that this now slides out and you can slide it back in the other way. I said slide back in the other way. And then you can change your radiator and fan clearances, which is super awesome. I can't believe these cases are so cheap. Based on like what you can do with it, it's quite impressive. So what I'm going to probably do on my build that I'm doing with this for Threadripper is I'm going to have the fans in a pull configuration so you can see the back side of the fans. Yeah. And people asked about that, why I didn't do that. Well, it's because I was using that fan frame and you wouldn't have really seen the back of it anyway. But with the fans I'll be using for this, you'll definitely be seeing it. So yeah, we're going to leave that rotated. And let's move on and get the motherboard out, and then I'm going to show you how to do the E-ATX stuff. I actually had quite a few people asking about E-ATX in this case and if it was possible. Now I'm going to just demonstrate something with you really quickly. So this is the motherboard that I'm using for my new editing workstation. Obviously we're not building it in this video, but I just wanted to show you that it doesn't actually fit because this part here interferes with the motherboard fitting in. So there is something we can do to make this fit. I'm going to show you how this works. And I should have shown this in the build video, but what we need to do, right, is take out these two screws up here, all right, and this is a pre-production sample, but the final version of this case also does this. Ready? Wait for it. You just rotate this bracket, right? See, it rotates. So like this, and it rotates. I thought I'd just repeat that a couple times just in case you didn't see. And instead of putting the screws in the top, it's got the screw holes down the bottom. The E-ATX board should now fit. All right, look at that. And then we'll just test fit it because I'm feeling nice. See? And there we go. So you can actually fit E-ATX in here quite easily. And I'm very, very excited to start this build, and this case looks tiny with this motherboard in it. All right, one of the most asked questions about the Lancool 2 is about how the RGB on it works. So basically what it's got a built-in RGB controller, which you can control the color and everything and the speed of the lighting and all that on top of the case here. It's got a motherboard pass-through cable, so if you wanted to put it in motherboard pass-through mode, you can then use your software, say AuraSync, to configure the lighting and whatnot, so you don't need to use the built-in case lighting. And the case lighting is expandable because there is another 3-pin addressable RGB connector, which you can plug anything else in that uses a 3-pin connector. So you can either use your motherboard to control all the front lighting, or you can use the built-in controller. And for our setup, or rather the setup I'm going to be using for my editing PC, I'll probably be using the in-case lighting just because it's easy and I can turn it off just by pressing a button up here too. So yeah, that's basically how the lighting for this case works. So the way you'd actually go ahead and expand the lighting is you'd just use something like a 3-way addressable RGB splitter. You plug it into the header, the expansion cable that comes off the case that actually connects to the front panel lighting stuff. I'll get into that in a second as well. And just plug straight in, and then you can expand it out to however many devices it will support. It's a nice, elegant system, and I will give it to Lian-Li because in the past they've used another type of lighting connector, like with the Bora Digital fans, and they've opted to go with regular 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB. So it is a nice touch. I didn't show this in the video either, but there is a backplane adapter you can get if you wanted to have hot swap drives as well. I do have this coming now because I think I'm going to be populating this with some drives. But yes, I'm super excited to get this Threadripper build underway, but we're just waiting for a few more parts to come. So we've got some RAM and all of the fans coming from Corsair. We're going to be using the Corsair QL fans and the Dominator Platinum RGB memory on the motherboard. We've got some GPUs coming because it's going to be getting an SLI setup because why not? I don't build my personal rigs very often, and especially not editing rigs. I try and upgrade that maybe once every 2 years because of how mission critical it is. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to build this out. I'm going to have my old editing rig running in its current form, and I'm going to migrate over rather than just like pulling drives out of that system and shoving them in here. It's going to be a fresh install with everything done from the ground up again. And yeah, I'm going to have that as a backup machine just in case anything hits the fan, and you know what I'm talking about, hitting the fan. Okay, we're all done with that. Let's engage cinematic mode via time-lapse mode. So yeah, let's do that, get it back together, and then clean up the motherboard, and then we'll say goodbye. I hope you guys enjoyed the teardown of the Lian-Li Lancool 2. Now I'm personally really excited for this build that's coming with this because I mentioned that in the video. I'm building my new 3rd gen Threadripper workstation in this now. This video was less of a teardown and more of me preparing the case to be filled with all of that Threadripper goodness. And the reason why I'm upgrading is because I currently already use a 1st gen 1950X for all the editing on the channel. And after doing all the benchmarks and some testing, some pre-testing rather, before we actually build the system, we found that it's a lot faster than what we're currently using. So yeah, it's time to switch. And speaking of all things work, we actually have one of the Secret Gear Seekers employees here today, and we're going to finally introduce you to him. So come and say hi, Carl.
Hi everybody.
Hi Carl.
How is everyone? I'll just let you know, I'm head of workplace shenanigans and tomfoolery here at Gear Seekers.
Yeah, so Carl, if anything's wrong, or we say the wrong thing, or we say something stupid, it's usually Carl's fault. So you can blame him in the comments down below. From now on, if anything's wrong in any video, just blame Carl. It's funny because when we do this type of stuff, people think that I'm being mean to people that we introduce on the channel, but the truth is, I'm always way meaner off camera. Do your job, Carl. Thanks for watching.